In the late 90s, Pokemania had taken the world by storm. Across the globe, everyone was enamored by these little monsters that fit in our pockets. But we weren't satisfied with that. We wanted to see these tiny images turn into something greater. And when Pokemon Stadium was released, these monsters took shape of larger-than-life 3D models. And the best part of it all was the minigames! Hello and welcome to Coach Max Entertainment. I was about 4 years old when Pokemania was really hitting hard, and that was a crazy time to be alive. It seemed like everywhere you looked, Pikachu and his army had taken over. The TV show, the card game, the cereals, pencil toppers, you name it. Pokemon was branded on it. I actually remember this cereal, but I only really cared about it because it came with a tiny figurine of Poliwhirl or something. I didn't really care about the cereal part. But man, Pokemon was hype. We loved playing on our Game Boys. I so fondly remember opening my green Game Boy Color and Pokemon Yellow on Christmas Day when I was 5. I then traded my Game Boy to another person for a Blue Eyes White Dragon card in the 3rd grade.
The worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere, but certainly ever signed in this country.
I literally have no idea what I was thinking. The N64 had been out for a good few years by this point as well. The next logical step was to bring these little dudes to the system and have them on our TV. Pokemon Snap released, and this was awesome. I'm so nostalgic for this game. But this was more of a side experience. We really wanted to see something like this take place on the screen. And when Pokemon Stadium released, well, it was Pokemon battles on the TV. Back then, this seemed like the pinnacle of human achievement. Even now, I get giddy with excitement when I see the Pokemon Stadium battle screens. But they're just a little lackluster compared to what we're capable of seeing on our 3DSs now. At least they look better than anything Sword and Shield are showing off. But if you ask anyone what their favorite part of the Stadium games is, 9 times out of 10 they'll mention the minigames. These little jokers are fantastic. We got 9 of them in Pokemon Stadium and 12 more in Pokemon Stadium 2. I remember going to Sears as a child and playing the Donphan minigame over and over at the setup kiosk. Remember when you could play games at stores? Man, those were the days. Also, remember when you could go to Sears? The minigames were the perfect little side attraction from the battles. If you didn't have the Game Boy pack, you were limited to the rental Pokemon in the battles, so you could only get so much mileage out of the game. But the minigames just gave you so much, and they are all still a blast to this day. So today let's take a look back at the top 10 of these minigames in Pokemon Stadium across both games. A lot of these minigames rely on you testing your reflexes, which I guess is really just what a majority of video games are. And Eager Eevee is basically just a reflex tester, but the tension that builds while you're playing this game is nuts. It's basically a Pokemon version of Red Light Green Light, with Aipom hiding fruit underneath the dome. You control one of 4 Eevees circling the dome, waiting for Aipom to lift the covering and run for the fruit. There's just 2 buttons, and I think that's a big reason why these minigames are so fun. They're simple. One button to dash, the other to fake a dash. This second button is really only good when you're playing with the other people instead of the computer though. If you dash too early, you'll crash into the dome and might miss out on the fruit. Every once in a while there will be a Pineco under the dome, which penalizes you for a turn, guaranteeing you don't get any fruit. And on the rare times where everyone dashes onto the Pineco, it's hilarious watching no one be able to participate in the next round. The tension in this game is awesome, definitely making for a fun time. Take Magikarp, put him on land, and make him do the one thing he's known for. How on earth is this game so fun? The aptly titled Magikarp Splash is so much fun. You are literally splashing, pressing one button, hitting this little bumper at the top of the screen in a competition to splash better than everyone else. By all accounts, this should be the dumbest thing. But that's the thing. It just doesn't make sense why it's so fun. You gotta get into a nice little rhythm with this though, making for intense competitions with the computer or other people. I just wrote 9 sentences about Magikarp splashing. And this is number 9 on the list. Pong was pretty good, so put in Pokemon and you end up with Barrier Ball. Mr. Mime takes a small break from being creepy to be a part of this fast-paced game. I said it was Pong, and it is, except it's a 4-player version of it. The game is pretty simple. First to 5 goals wins. If someone scores on you, you lose a point. You have the ability to give extra push behind hitting the Pokeballs around the screen. But if you move and push at the same time, you can put some gnarly spin on the field. Look at that English! A fast-paced take on a classic. Barrier Balls got it going on. I already talked about this one earlier, but Rampage Rollout is one of the minigames I'm most nostalgic for. It combines the fast part of a racing game with a little bit of the Mario Kart item insanity with these dust clouds. If you finish a lap in a place lower than first, you get a dust cloud to leave in the path of others. Most of the time, these just litter the inside track and you have to decide whether or not it's worth it to spend a little more time to move around them or just run right through them and risk the lost time. The final lap turns the Rampage into a literal rollout with all the Donphan rolling up instead of running on all fours. You know that feeling when there's less than 100 seconds in a Mario level and the music is all like... That's the same feeling here, and the music in this game is so good. You feel like you're down on the farm for a bluegrass jamboree, and this is just the kind of jamboree I would be so down for. It's no Crash Team Racing, but it'll do. Beyblade the minigame. Topsy-Turvy takes that concept and puts Hitmontop in a bowl, and you gotta knock each other out. This one can be surprisingly tense, because you never know when someone's gonna build up just enough speed to knock you out of the bowl, or when you're in the process of destroying someone and another dude just breezes by and steals your point. And I think it's just me, but this minigame is way harder now than it was when I was a kid. But it's the one that is super nostalgic to me, like the previous minigame. I really liked having Hitmontop in this minigame because as a kid in first grade at the time, I had no idea how you could feasibly get one in gold and silver. I basically taught all my Pokemon Cut and Surf, so I sure wasn't going to figure out how to have a Tyrogue with equal attack and defense stats. Also, side story, when I was in 4th grade, I was watching a few kids play with Beyblades in the library at school, and I got too close to the action, and when one kid ripped the Beyblade, his arm went back and nailed me in the face. I'd like to say I didn't cry, but we all know what really happened. I love Guitar Hero and Rock Band. In high school, my other friends and I would all get together and play till very late on Friday nights. Most of the time, it turned into early Saturday morning. I went off on that tangent to say that Snorewar was pretty much a precursor to those rhythm games without me knowing it. A group of drowsies all using hypnosis to the beat of this ticking pendulum is simple, but it's fun. The pendulum increases speed slowly, and when you get to the end of the minigame, it's just a mad button mashing. Seriously, like a precursor to the intense Guitar Hero days. And drowsy after you win? That's how I feel. Every day of my life. Rattata is not exactly the most exciting Pokemon, but man, they made it just a little more interesting in Run Rattata Run. The gist of this is that you take control of a single Rattata on a treadmill with hurdles popping up on the track. I've always been enamored by this giant track made for rats being in the middle of the forest. Like, who made this? How did this end up here? These Rattata could just walk off the side of the track and escape. Are they some form of fitness-obsessed Rattata? Is this where the term gym rat comes from? Probably not. I love this game. Tapping the run button as fast as you can clearing the hurdles is just plain fun. This is one of those games that most everyone can agree on. Clefairy Says is the best minigame in Stadium 1, no doubt. In a Pokemonified version of Simon Says, you control a Clefairy in a classroom, and you have to mimic... That's why it's Clefairy! The move Mimic! That's what's happening here. 20 years later and I finally understand! So you mimic the movements of the teacher Clefairy, and if you don't make the right moves, you get bopped on the head. The sound effect of the bopping is ingrained in my head. It's one of those Pavlov type things. I hear the bop, I panic. This game is a blast to play with other friends. If you love people yelling at each other and losing friendships like it's Mario Party, this is the game that will have the greatest impact on game night. Now for something a little less stressful than Clefairy Says. Egg Emergency. I mentioned Guitar Hero and Rock Band earlier, and this is another one of those games like it. Egg Emergency is especially like this because it's like these eggs are the notes coming down the screen. You move left and right to catch these eggs in your pouch. You're a Chansey, by the way, not a human. Humans don't have pouches. And it's not as easy as just catching eggs. There's Voltorbs, and somehow they got mixed in with everything, and if you catch one, you get zapped real good and lose some eggs. Shocking. Boo! This is a thrill on hard difficulty. The eggs just fly down the screen. It's so much fun. And yeah, Chansey throws out the eggs at the end. So you did all that work for nothing. Doesn't make it less fun though. In case you haven't figured it out by this point, I have a little odd taste in my favorite things. But Streaming Stampede is my favorite minigame in Pokemon Stadium. It's certainly not the most intense. It's not really stressful. It's literally just counting. You're either a Cleffa or an Igglybuff, and count the Pokemon that appear on screen. I don't really know what it is that makes me love this one so much. I don't really like either Pokemon. I'm a math teacher, but counting isn't really what I love about math. Maybe it's seeing the Pokemon parade across the screen. Maybe it's the crazy AI acting ridiculous during the counting phase. I just don't know what it is, but this game is a blast to play. Maybe it's because it's such a chill game. Everything else is all about how fast your reflexes are, how smart and strategic you are, but not here. Yeah, you have to focus and count the right Pokemon, but that's it. Very easy to just lean back and relax. This is probably my favorite era of Pokemon. Not just Gen 1, but everything that happened during Gen 1. There was just so much stuff, and the minigames in Stadium are so cemented in my memories. Game Freak could absolutely make a game full of just minigames featuring Pokemon, and I guarantee you it would be a groundbreaking success. There's no way it could flop. Wait. If you liked the video today, make sure you hit the like button. Let me know what your favorite minigame is down in the comments below. YouTube likes comments on videos, so that's one of the best ways to support the channel right now. Make sure to follow on social media and check out other videos on the channel. And until next time, see you later!